Look, I need your help. If you're watching this, hit that subscribe button right now. We're grinding to reach 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you matters. This channel's built on real talk, no fluff, just straight facts about the game we all love. Subscribe, share it with your friends, and let's build this community together. Now let's get into it. Tom Brady just said something that has the entire NFL world absolutely losing its mind right now. And I'm not talking about some recycled quote or boring analyst take that you've heard 1,000 times before. This is the kind of statement that makes you stop scrolling, rewind the video, and ask yourself if you actually heard what you think you just heard. The timing couldn't be more explosive, and the fallout is spreading faster than wildfire through a dry forest. Every corner of the football universe is buzzing, from casual fans to hardcore analysts to players themselves. Everyone's got an opinion, and nobody can agree on what this actually means for the league moving forward. Brady didn't hold back, and that's what makes this moment so electric. For years, we've watched him navigate interviews with surgical precision, always careful, always calculated, never giving away too much. But something was different this time. Maybe he was fed up with the noise, tired of watching narratives get twisted, or just ready to speak his truth without worrying about the consequences. Whatever the reason, what came out of his mouth sent shockwaves through every front office, every locker room, and every debate show across the country. The man who built his legacy on preparation and discipline just went completely off script, and the NFL hasn't been the same since. And here's what makes this even crazier. Brady didn't need to say anything at all. He's already cemented as the greatest to ever do it, living that retired life, enjoying his family, building his business empire, and staying far away from controversy. He could have just kept his mouth shut, let the league figure itself out, and watched from the sidelines like every other retired legend. But instead, he chose to step right into the fire, knowing full well that his words carry more weight than almost anyone else in football. When Tom Brady speaks, people listen, whether they want to or not, and what he revealed wasn't some surface-level observation that analysts could debate for a few days and move on from. This was deep, personal, and pointed directly at one of the biggest mysteries hanging over this entire offseason. The Shedeur Sanders situation has been the elephant in the room since draft night, and everyone's been tiptoeing around it like it's radioactive. Why did a quarterback with his talent, his pedigree, his confidence, and his undeniable skill set fall so far in the draft? Teams that desperately needed a franchise signal caller passed on him not once, not twice, but multiple times. It didn't make sense to fans, it didn't make sense to analysts, and it sure as hell didn't make sense to anyone who actually watched him play. But nobody in the media wanted to touch it directly because the real reasons were messier than anyone wanted to admit. So the conversation stayed surface level, filled with vague speculation and safe takes that didn't ruffle any feathers, until Brady decided to blow the lid off the whole thing. What Brady said wasn't just a casual comment thrown out in passing. It was deliberate, pointed, and impossible to ignore. He didn't dance around the issue or hide behind corporate speak. He went straight for the heart of it, exposing the uncomfortable truth that's been hiding behind closed doors in NFL front offices. And the moment those words left his mouth, you could feel the shift. The internet exploded instantly, with clips spreading faster than any highlight reel ever could. Fans who were casually scrolling suddenly stopped everything they were doing, hit rewind, and started dissecting every syllable like it was the Zapruder film. This wasn't just football talk anymore. This was full-blown drama, the kind that makes people forget about their daily routines and dive headfirst into conspiracy theories and hot takes. The Raiders have been at the center of this storm, and honestly, they should have seen it coming. This franchise has a long, painful history of making decisions that look questionable in the moment and downright disastrous in hindsight. Drafting kickers too early, letting superstars walk for nothing, cycling through coaches like they're trying on shirts at the mall. It's been a never-ending parade of chaos. And now, with Brady's comments hanging in the air like a dark cloud, Raiders fans are left wondering once again what their front office was thinking. Did they really pass on Shedeur Sanders multiple times because of football reasons, or was there something else going on behind the scenes? The more people dig into it, the uglier it looks, and the more validation fans feel for all those years of frustration. But here's where it gets really interesting. Brady's not just some talking head with a microphone and an opinion. He's someone who knows Shedeur personally, someone who's been around the kid, worked with him, and watched him develop as a player and as a person. So when Brady speaks about this situation, it's not speculation or guesswork. It's coming from someone who's been inside the process, who understands the dynamics, and who knows way more than he's probably allowed to say. That makes his words carry exponentially more weight than any analyst's prediction or any any insider's vague rumor. This is Tom Brady, the guy who turned franchises into dynasties, who knows what it takes to succeed at the highest level, and who's seen enough football to recognize talent when it's staring him in the face. If he's speaking up, you better believe there's a reason. The reaction from fans has been absolutely insane, and honestly, it's been entertaining as hell to watch. Some people are treating Brady's words like they're gospel, like he just descended from some mythical mountain holding stone tablets with the truth carved into them. Others are convinced this is proof of some deeper conspiracy, that the NFL has shadow figures pulling strings behind the scenes, deciding which players rise and which ones mysteriously disappear into obscurity. And then there's the group that's just here for the chaos, watching the whole thing unfold like it's the best reality show ever made. Because at the end of the day, this is entertainment, and nobody does drama quite like the NFL when things go off the rails. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders himself doesn't even need to say a word. He's sitting back, watching Tom Brady fight his battles for him, and probably laughing at how wild this whole situation has become. Imagine being a young quarterback and having the greatest player of all time accidentally expose the league on your behalf. That's the kind of publicity money can't buy, the kind of validation that changes narratives overnight. Suddenly, Shedeur's not the guy who slipped in the draft because teams had concerns. He's the guy who got passed over for reasons that had nothing to do with his talent, and now everyone knows it. That's a complete flip of the script, and it puts him in a position of power moving forward. What Brady exposed wasn't just about one player or one draft decision. It was about the ugly politics, the ego battles, and the power struggles that happen behind closed doors in NFL front offices every single day. These are the conversations that never make it to the public, the real reasons why certain moves get made or don't get made. And for a brief moment, Brady ripped the curtain back and let everyone see what's really going on. That's dangerous for the league because it shatters the illusion of meritocracy, the idea that the best players always rise to the top purely because of talent. The truth is messier, more complicated, and way less inspiring than the fairy tales the NFL loves to sell. The media's response has been predictable, but still fascinating to watch. Every talk show, every podcast, every Twitter thread has been dissecting Brady's comments from every possible angle. Analysts are scrambling to rewrite their narratives, trying to act like they saw this coming all along, even though most of them were completely blindsided. Some are defending the Raiders, throwing out excuses and rationalizations that sound weaker by the second. Others are piling on, using this as ammunition to tear apart a franchise that's already been through hell and back. And in the middle of it all, the real story keeps getting buried under layers of hot takes and sensationalism. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about football. It's about power, control, and the uncomfortable truths that people would rather ignore. What makes this even more explosive is the timing. The NFL is already in a volatile state right now, with storylines overlapping and tension building across the league. Coaching changes, roster shakeups, rookie expectations, it's all swirling together into one massive pressure cooker. And then here comes Brady, tossing a live grenade right into the middle of it all. The explosion was inevitable, but nobody expected it to be this big or this messy. And now everyone's scrambling to figure out what comes next, because once Brady says something like this, it doesn't just disappear, it lingers, it festers, and it forces people to confront uncomfortable realities they'd rather pretend don't exist. For Shedeur Sanders, this could actually be the best thing that ever happened to him. Instead of being remembered as the guy who fell in the draft for unknown reasons, he's now the guy who got passed over because of circumstances beyond his control. That's a much better narrative, and it gives him a chip on his shoulder that could fuel his entire career. Every time he steps on the field, every throw he makes, every game he wins, it's going to feel like vindication. And the teams that passed on him are going to have to live with that decision, watching him succeed elsewhere while they're stuck wondering what could have been. That's the kind of poetic justice that makes sports so damn compelling. The Raiders, on the other hand, are in full damage control mode. Their PR team is probably working overtime, trying to craft some bland statement that doesn't admit fault, but also doesn't make things worse. Good luck with that, because once Tom Brady puts you on blast, there's no easy way out. You can deny it, you can deflect, you can try to change the subject, but none of it's going to work. The damage is done, the truth is out there, and fans aren't going to forget anytime soon. This is the kind of mess that follows a franchise for years, showing up in every draft discussion, every quarterback debate, every conversation about organizational competence. And let's be real, the Raiders have earned this scrutiny. This isn't some isolated incident where they made one questionable decision and moved on. This is part of a long, painful pattern of dysfunction that's defined the franchise for way too long. Fans have watched it happen over and over again, hoping each time that things would finally turn around, only to be disappointed yet again. So when Brady's comments hit, it wasn't just about Shedeur Sanders. It was about every bad decision, every missed opportunity, every moment where the Raiders chose chaos over competence. It all came flooding back, and fans finally had validation that their frustrations were justified. The conspiracy theories have been flying fast and furious, and honestly, some of them are wild enough to be entertaining even if they're not true. People are connecting dots that probably don't connect, building elaborate narratives about secret agendas and hidden motives. But here's the thing, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. Sometimes the real reasons behind these decisions are just as bizarre and irrational as the wildest theories. So while it's easy to dismiss the conspiracy crowd, it's also worth remembering that the NFL is a business driven by egos, money, and power. And in that environment, anything's possible. What's clear is that Brady's comments have fundamentally changed the conversation around Shedeur Sanders and the draft. Before this, people were debating his talent, his readiness, his fit in different systems. Now, the conversation's shifted entirely. It's not about whether he's good enough. Everyone knows he's talented. It's about why talented players get passed over, what factors beyond football influence these decisions, and how much control teams really have versus outside forces. Those are much bigger, much messier questions, and they don't have easy answers, but Brady forced everyone to start asking them, and that's significant. The players who've come out in support of Shedeur haven't been shy about it either. They've seen him work, watched him grind, and they know what he's capable of. Their endorsements carry weight because they're not based on hype or potential. They're based on real experience, on watching a young quarterback put in the work and earn respect the hard way. That matters more than any analyst's opinion or any mock draft projection. When your peers vouch for you, especially in a league as competitive and cutthroat as the NFL, that's validation that can't be faked. The haters, of course, are still out there doing what haters do best. They're picking apart every detail, looking for reasons to doubt, trying desperately to prove that Shedeur doesn't deserve the attention he's getting. But their arguments are getting weaker by the day, especially now that Brady's comments have shifted the narrative. It's hard to claim someone's overrated when the greatest quarterback of all time is essentially vouching for them, even indirectly. The more the critics push back, the more obvious it becomes that their issue isn't with Shedeur's talent, it's with something else entirely. Something they probably won't admit out loud. At the end of the day, this entire situation is a perfect encapsulation of what makes the NFL so compelling and so frustrating at the same time. It's a league built on competition and meritocracy, but it's also a league where politics, egos, and behind-the-scenes maneuvering can derail even the most talented players. Brady's comments pulled back the curtain on that reality, and now everyone's seeing what insiders have known for years. The game isn't always fair, the best players don't always get their shot, and sometimes the reasons have nothing to do with what happens on the field. That's uncomfortable to admit, but it's the truth, and Brady just made it impossible to ignore. So where does this leave us? With more questions than answers, more drama than resolution, and a league that's more divided than ever over what this all means. Shedeur Sanders is sitting pretty, validated by the greatest to ever play the game, with a future that suddenly looks a lot brighter. The Raiders are scrambling, trying to clean up a mess that might be beyond repair. And Tom Brady, well, he's probably back to living his best life, completely unbothered by the chaos he just unleashed. Because at the end of the day, when you're Tom Brady, you can say whatever you want and let the world deal with the fallout. And right now, the NFL world is dealing with it big time.